What's up YouTube, Spencer K here, and today we will explore Nations 2.0 Xbox One Edition to see how the Nations are doing so far. For those of you who do not know what Nations is, it's a similar game mode to Factions that my friends and I play. One of the biggest differences between Nations and Factions is we try to have peace, diplomacy, and just overall more in-depth politics. Factions is just a bunch of random people griefing each other. If you are still curious about Nations, please feel free to ask me down in the comment section or watch any of my Nations videos in the playlist also linked down in the description. As of 27 June 2019, there are a total of 16 nations. We will only be exploring the top 10 nations to both save time and motivate the other 6 nations not yet in the top 10 to build up their empire. Before we hop into our top 10, let me explain how the nations will be ranked. Nations will be ranked on almost everything possible, such as having a flag, banner, nether portal, foreign and domestic embassies, buildings, farms, rails, roads, allies, military size, military power, land claim, item stockpile, plus more. Size and quality also gets more points for buildings and structures. Let's get started with our top 10 nations so far. Coming in at our number 10 spot with a total of 28 points is the newest nation owned by Tangiblez. Tangiblez is the newest player to the Nation series. Being friendly and getting along with everyone he's met so far is the biggest reason he's ranking so high. So far in his nation, he has an NPC village he is converting, a tower, an Elytra tower, and a small town also in the works to secure a few extra points. Great job, Tangi. Coming in our 9th spot with 43 points is the returning communist dictator Hacker. I don't know if he's actually communist, but one thing is for sure. He has done a great job cramming a lot of buildings into a small island, which is going to be where a majority of his points come from. Some other points were gained from his Elytra tower and his railroad connected to dock. Keep it up, Hacker. The 8th place nation is our only female leader on the server. With a total of 56 points, Recruit is building a beautiful nation full of animals, farms, and villagers. Her nation culture is unlike any other ever seen before in the Nations franchise. On top of that, her foreign relations are superb, and that will account for a lot of her points. I can't wait for her zoo to be finished. Our 7th place nation was constantly at war in Nations 1.0 Xbox One Edition. It is now the complete opposite here in 2.0. With 74 points, Oregon has successfully maintained peace so far and is currently in the process of building a massive nation. Having a bit of everything is what will get Oregon his 7th place spot. One thing he is leading the world in by far is his population. Sadly, many of his buildings are still unfinished, but when they are, they will look amazing. I can't wait to see how they turn out. Despite not being a big fan of building, our 6th place nation owned by Silver has both constructed some of the greatest world wonders in his land and helped many other nations in their projects. With 76 points, Silver's nation is always a blast to visit.
Oh, he's up here, he's up here.
Does he see it?
He broke it.
Did he only break the dispenser?
Yeah. Come back and put
Oh,
another
it's game
hopper.
on.
His many allies, buildings, and military strength are the primary reason for this rank. I can't wait to see what crazy ideas you have in the future, Silver. Our 5th place nation is actually the most surprising to me. Dan has somehow scraped up 80 points by remodeling a village he found. Many points also come from almost every other nation being an ally of Dan. My guess is they're all still afraid of Dan from Nations 1.0.
So not only did you steal my potions, but you tried to sell them back to me. Like a dick. I told you not to mess with me. I told you not to steal my shit. Because I told you I would find out.
Don't steal his potions. Another person you don't want to mess with is our 4th place nation. With 85 points, you do not want to touch Brady's sugarcane farm. He has built a majority of his nation out of dirt, but his population, allies, and military power make up for the lack of building. If you ever get bored in the server, this man is always looking for help to expand his sugarcane farm. I can't wait to see how big his farm gets in the future. This man is known for the biggest terrorist attack in nation's history. With 104 points, Lee has made up for the terrorist attack on 1.0. If you say there is another military in the world as strong and big as Lee's, I wouldn't believe you. Lee's military stockpile and strength of said equipment is virtually unmatched. If that doesn't scare you, maybe one of these massive TNT creators will. Coming in at our number 2 spot with 186 points is none other than yours truly. Following the same path I took on Nations 1.0, and with a lot of help from allies and citizens, almost 50 buildings have been built into what is currently the biggest city in the world. On top of that, every nation is currently an ally of mine. A total of 14 and domestic embassies have been built because of said allies. The only thing my nation currently lacks is a military. And now, drum roll please, for a number 1 nation with a total of 69 billion points, Airborne Dash. Consisting of one house, this man's a legend. He's the hero we all need. He just might be a god. He is the owner of the world's favorite cat, Mr. Whiskers. And if that isn't enough for you, the legendary sheep known as the one and only Catherine is locked in his basement. I bow down to you, Dash. Please don't hurt me.